All right, beautiful people out there, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. This your boy Hood. Yo, we hollering at y'all about a new movie that came out called American Fiction. It's been blowing up in the streets and blowing up in the bougie world. So we want to talk about it and just see what y'all think. We're going to watch the trailer, then we're going to get right back into this conversation. I hope you've seen this movie. If not, we'll see if it's worth seeing. Fiction. And looked like it was written and directed by a person named Corey Jefferson. I'm not familiar with who this person is, but he did a good job on this movie because it won the People Choice Awards, and one of those festivals. Which festival was that again? Let me see which festival that was again. It was a major festival too. I just got to see the name of it again real quick. What festival did he win? He won a festival, Toronto International Film Festival. He won the People Choice Award. That's kind of major, you know what I'm saying? Plus, it's two countries. Remember, Toronto is in, obviously, Canada. So, and that's good for him because that gave his movie some push. You might not have heard about it. I don't think it got a major push from Hollywood as far as promotion and distribution. But it's a good, funny movie. I watched it. It starts where he's kind of like a guy who is not pretty much happy. And so he had a lot of tough situations hit him right away. His sister died from a heart attack. He get fired, basically let go at his job, and they're not buying his books. His book's not making it, and so he goes back home to where he's from in Boston. And when he get there, he realizes his mother is Alzheimer, you know, and that's when he realized his sister died as well. And all this happened within like 2 or 3 days. You know what I'm saying? So he ended up meeting a girl, and she's Erica Alexander, and shit plays her character. I'm definitely not a fan of her. But, you know, dude is, and she put her in a movie, and she did what she did. And at the end of the day, his story became kind of interesting because they had brought the hip hop vertical towards the story, where they made our character be so disgruntled by not having been accepted in the white world that he decided to do what white people want to have, which is like hood stuff, trap books, describing the streets, describing living in a fucked up environment, which, you know, a lot of black people can identify with that, and they'll believe that. They set that whole scenario up for black people. So he made a book about that, and in his mind, it was not supposed to do good. It was supposed to be like, that was nothing gonna happen behind it. But instead, it blew up. And so 20 years ago, just about, they did a movie like this. Spike Lee did a movie like this called Bamboozled. And in his movie, Damon Wayans played the main character. And in that particular movie, and came out in the year 2000, it was interesting because that time they was transitioning from analog to digital. The year 2000 is when it happened. So Spike Lee is one of the first filmmakers to do a movie with all digital cameras, and that was the movie. It was called Bamboozled. He used a camera, a Sony VX1000 for that particular movie. He had about 5 or 6 of them. And obviously, I did my research on that. But anyway, in that movie, the main character was mad because he wasn't getting the accolades that he wanted from Hollywood as a TV writer. He wasn't getting the accolades, so he was mad. I'm sorry, yeah, as a TV writer, he wasn't getting the show rights that he wanted. They wasn't putting the shows he wanted on. Michael Rappaport played his boss, and but he was loved in the hip hop, in the black culture, real heavy, just like Michael Rappaport real life is, and. He wouldn't put none of Delacroix's, that's his name in the movie, his character in the movie, movies. He put none of his projects on TV. So he went out and wrote this real bogus TV show about blackface and black dudes being Sambos. And, you know, he made it like a variety show. And when he did the trailer for it, or did like the piece to let everybody see it, they loved it. They fell in love with it so much, they gave him money. They hired all these people to be background people, and it blew up so big, he started getting awards and doing all this shit. And at first, he didn't like it. And then eventually, he ended up embracing it because this is ultimately what he wanted. And so he became a success and stuff like that. Ultimately, his people around him, he self-destructed, and he, I think, committed suicide, something like that. You should see that movie called Bamboozled by Spike Lee. It came out in 2000. This movie got a lot of relevancy to that, but it doesn't. It makes a lot of twists and turns, so it doesn't seem so much like that movie. So, for instance, in this movie, American Fiction, his mother actually comes down with Alzheimer's. So now the movie kind of takes a second story. So in this second story, we follow him coming from out of town, living in another state, to having to deal with his mother and his sister, who was the caretaker, dying. Now it falls on him being an older sibling. Now he got to work on it. His little brother, which is his brother, he had became gay, you know, and they put that in their movies. And he wasn't really trying to help the family out because he had issues with the mother that the mother couldn't solve for him because of the fact that she had Alzheimer's. So now they're trying to get the mother into this old folks home and the process of that because she's not willing to go. And you cross cut that with the story of him being an actual writer. But the idea of him being a writer was that he was a fugitive. And he was not a person who was going to be seen. You couldn't come and have interviews with him. If you did, he would cover his face. Because ultimately, he wanted to really be this writer that they accepted in the game. But he knew that they wouldn't fuck with him. So he did this storyline. It was so funny. And when the white people wanted to give him this $1 million for it, he was like, look, this is a joke. I'm not trying to make this really work. So I'm going to name the book Fuck. And they was like, what? He was like, yeah, he wanted to deal with Crash. And they was like, well, let's talk about it. Let us talk about it. And they came back in seconds and they was like, cool, we'll do it. Next thing you know, they released millions of books called Fuck. All the people around America loved it. They was reading it. It blew up. And next thing you know, he was up for an award so fast he couldn't even believe it. But just him being such a dope writer, he actually was on the panel to become to judge his own book. So he hated on his own book, but he was outnumbered and they chose his book to actually work out. He won the award at the end of the movie. I liked the movie. It had a lot of twists and turns in it. It had a lot, especially seeing black people finally. And it wasn't necessarily that I don't think he was an Uncle Tom. I just think that he was from a success story, a successful household. They lived out of town in Boston. And so it was just, that was his reality. And then they became doctors and he was an educational doctor, but he didn't like that shit. It's just that was work, you know what I'm saying? So this gave him a new purpose, a new way to live, a new reality. He became rich. And it's almost like you leave town, I think the movie was kind of saying you leave home and you leave town to become successful. But if you get out of town and get to these homes and get out of these places and you still don't become successful, then what? And that's what this movie was kind of talking about. So the guy was just living out of town. He wasn't really like living his dream. It wasn't coming together. And he was willing to die like that. But the fact that his life changed so fast and everything started swirling or twirling down, that made him go home. And now he thought of a new idea and it brought him back up. And not only did that happen, but he got the girl. In a lot of black movies, they don't get the girl. So that was another intriguing point that I saw. And that made me like the movie because it's like, yeah, he got the girl. I mean, why couldn't he? Why would there not be a girl involved for a character that's just a cool dude? He ain't meaning no harm. And so it was a story you might be interested in seeing. If you want to see American Fiction, I support it. It's a good, dope movie. You might like it. I think you're going to be interested in seeing it and laughing. It got a lot of parts in that. It's going to be funny. You're going to really enjoy it. So let me know if you watched the movie. Let me know if you saw it. Let me know if you're going to see it. And we're going to talk about some new stuff. Let me know any new movies or trailers you want to talk about right here on this channel. This your boy HoodFilms. We signing off, and I'll hit you up in a minute. Peace.